Welcome to this episode of the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast. I'm your Captain Kenny with my executive officer,
Joey.
Joey, how are you today?
I'm doing good, actually. It's pretty chill, you know.
Is that it? That's all you have to say?
Yeah. We're doing it on Discord again.
Yeah, we're still on. Next week we will not be through Discord.
We can probably do 2 next week, right?
We'll see. We'll see if we want to make a back catalog.
Because
we can figure that out later. So,
Yeah.
But today's episode is based on the title. We are going to talk about artificial life forms in science fiction. So robots, droids, androids, replicators, all that sort of stuff. And just all these sort of different interpretations of them and maybe what makes like a artificial life form sentient and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that is our plan for today.
We're going to talk about our favorites, our least favorites.
Yep. But we've got quite a bit of news today as well, don't we? Well, what piece of news do you want to start with? We'll save that first thing on my list for last, actually.
I think you should start us off, because I just kind of got the trailers.
Right. Well, I mean, we'll start off with there was the PlayStation Showcase this week, right?
Yes.
So,
yes, there was.
On my list, first on my list was God of War Ragnarok, which looks pretty cool, to be honest.
I thought it looked more the same, and I don't know if that's a good thing. I wanted drastic change. I wanted him to actually take on more stuff, but it seems like they're just outside of his house. Like, I wanted to see him in Asgard.
That's true.
I need more. I need to see more.
No, you can't go to Asgard, because this is gonna be a trilogy. If it's gonna somewhat reflect the original God of War games, which I have not played, but I believe it's only in the third game that they go to Olympus. So I feel like going to Asgard.
I think this might be
third game material.
I just read that this is the last one where they're in Norse mythology.
I'm not sure if I believe that.
I don't know. Who knows if that's true or not? I doubt it is, because where else are they going to go? Egypt, I guess, maybe? There's not really any other place to go.
I know there's some hints at it. I forget what the Easter eggs were. It's been a little while since I've played that game or looked up anything. How do you feel about... So Atreus is getting big now. He's getting older.
Yes, I believe it's the same actor.
Was he going by Loki?
No, I felt like he was like asking about Loki.
Right, he wants to find out like who this person is that he might be destined to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I think I guess spoilers for a God of War video game. What was it?
We've all played it. It was Game of the Year.
What was it? I'm trying to remember now. Who was the villain, the main villain in God of War in the last one? It was...
I don't know, the guy that shouldn't have died because it was Odin's son.
I'm totally forgetting. But his mom, right, who like put that enchantment on him, I think she showed up and was like trying to kill Kratos for a second.
Yeah.
You see Thor for a little bit, who sounded like Thanos. I'm not sure if that was Josh Brolin voicing Thor.
That would be funny.
You see a bit of Tyr, right?
Yeah.
I think there could be some really cool stuff.
Which, when they said Tyr, I was like, Tyr Anasazi. And I also thought of
Kodiak
and I also thought of Tyr, and then it was like Teal'c.
Right.
Because just Josh
Kratos. Yeah.
This is just for a judge. Yeah.
Yeah. So that game looks good. I'm not sure if we're gonna ever get a PS5 though.
No, it comes on PS4.
Oh, will it?
Yes. Well, so we will be able to play it.
Next PS5 game is Marvel's Spider-Man 2. There was a small teaser, right? I think that's for 2022.
Yes,
or 2023 was it? I forget.
Yes, it looks very co-op.
Yeah, it looks like it. I guess so, because they've got Miles Morales and Peter Parker, right?
Yeah,
and then
that would be.
I think that's Kraven the Hunter is giving the whole. What would you call that? The
spiel, monologue kind of thing.
Yeah. Kind of giving this whole monologue about. I've never been best tested for real. In this world, it's like, have you not tried like hunting the Hulk or something? I don't know. Kind of interesting. Because the Avengers exist in this universe. They exist though. There's Avengers Tower and stuff, right?
What if they're dead though?
Oh shoot! I feel like that doesn't make sense though. I feel like that would be referenced in the universe.
Oh, I feel like they definitely would. But also, you feel like they'll be referenced more though if they really existed.
I don't know. I'm not sure about that.
Or maybe they're just off in space now, like they're not even on Earth.
Oh, interesting.
That's what I bet it's more like. Now thinking about it right now, that's probably the case. They're probably all space-bound.
Well, but what about this? So there was another Marvel game showed off in this. Marvel's Wolverine.
Yeah.
Is that... Do we know... I don't know if you've done research. I didn't do research on it, but do they share a universe?
It's the same company, so it's both Insomniac.
Right, which made me think, right, it could be the same universe.
Yes, which I don't really have much to say about the Wolverine game because I feel like
show anything. It was just, I guess, Wolverine at a bar.
Yeah.
You don't even see his face, so I don't know.
I don't think Insomniac has made a rated M game before, but I feel like if you do Wolverine, you're gonna have to make it dark and gritty like that.
It depends. Not really. But I don't know, that's a game that I think could be cool. But yeah, they didn't show like anything of it, did they?
Yeah, we need
because if they're
more.
Making Wolverine, is it gonna have other X-Men? You would think it would have to.
You didn't even talk about Venom
in the Spider-Man. I mean, there wasn't much to say. He showed up.
Is
right?
Is it? There was Harry
no.
Osborn?
I was disappointed. Right, I was disappointed that there wasn't any sort of Green Goblin, whatnot. Right. Which I bet will show up. I think that will be the kind of how for the first game, right? You could say Doc Ock was the secret villain. I have a feeling that Green Goblin could be the secret villain. Would you agree with that?
Oh, yeah.
Right, because Doc Ock was not advertised at all, really.
No.
It was just kind of shown that, Peter Parker, I guess, might be working for Octavius, right?
Yeah, it's basically like the Lizard in the Sam Raimi movies. Like he's there,
right? But then he turned out to be the big boss. It's like, oh, this is cool, and you got Sinister Six and stuff. So, I like because they didn't. Because what was it? What was the revelation of what happened to Harry in the universe? He was just sitting. We just saw him in a tank,
right? Like a.
He was in a
Bacta tank.
Bacta tank.
Yeah, Bacta tank. And
then my gosh, you just seem still didn't say it right.
Banka, Banka, Tinka. Yeah.
Bacta tank.
Yes. And then we just see Venom goo in it, which is like, ooh, Venom.
Yeah. Do you think that was Venom goo? I guess now maybe it's easier to say that.
Yeah.
But then who's Green Goblin?
It'd have to be Harry Osborn. I mean, not Harry Osborn. His dad, Norman Osborn, still.
He's like old though, wasn't he? He was like pretty old to be a Green Goblin.
He isn't steroid up yet, you know.
I guess that's true.
He needs to get that Green Goblin punch, you know.
Sure. Was there any other PlayStation showcase trailers that you saw that I missed? I have one more.
Knights of the Old Republic?
Yeah, so they're doing a remake. I'm not sure what that entails, if that just means more of a remaster, like the graphics and stuff, or if it's full on, like we're changing up this game, but we're keeping it somewhat loosely on the original game story and stuff, right?
They talked about they said that they are holding true with the original material.
But what about like mechanics? Because I tried playing it for a little bit.
That's the point of contention.
And the stinking combat sucked. It was just so lame. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was really lame to me. The combat, I couldn't really get past the tutorial because of I didn't understand it most of the time.
Yeah, it is going to be
jarring.
It is going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah, which is
bad,
enraging. Yeah,
there are some talks though about it coming to PC, like at launch.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's more so just not like Xbox just doesn't have it.
Sure.
But the original KOTOR game is like a famous Xbox exclusive.
Okay.
So there was a bidding that went on, and apparently Xbox lost.
Strange.
I just slammed my calculator. Don't ignore that.
It's just crazy that they would try to make that exclusive. I don't know. And yeah, I'm surprised. I know this is something that people like really want and stuff. I was hoping I'm wondering if it'll be considered canon.
That's gonna be the make or break
implication, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because if it is not canon, I'm gonna wait until it comes on Xbox.
Yeah. It'd be very interesting. Because I don't know what the timeline is compared to the. Because I'm pretty sure this is thousands of years before the Clone Wars, say. And I know High Republic is like a couple hundred years before. So there'd still be some. There would still be a huge jump between that and current canon. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very open-ended. Like, if it's not canon, then I'm just gonna wait. That's just simple.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, especially if they don't change how the combat works, it's like I don't care.
Yeah, you're against that combat. This? I think you played a lot of D&D, so I don't think you have the right to judge the combat because I think it's basically the same.
It's different though versus you're doing a video game, right? And you're doing practically a board game. It's very different. In a video game, you want to be I want to be moving, and I want to be I want to select an attack and actually perform that attack in a video game most of the time. There are of course exceptions like worms and stuff, right? But those are designed around that. I don't know. I don't think it works for a Star Wars game like that.
You like Call of Duty style games. You want fast-paced shooters for the most part.
Like a Call of Duty, Destiny, Halo, Sea of Thieves. I just mean something that has like a pacing to it. As whether it's fast. I don't want to take a billion turns or whatever. I don't know. I only played about like 5 minutes of that game because people say that the story was good, but from what I remember, I don't know, all the voice acting to me kind of sucked and I didn't care for it.
Version breaking things, like things that we've never seen in Star Wars before, and it didn't really click.
I don't know. I don't know. Just how people talked in the game was like weird to me. Like,
I am very interested to see what they would do with it in the future. Like, if it's canon or not. If it's... Are they going to do the second one? Because apparently the second one has aged better.
Okay. Sure.
And the second one's made from Obsidian, which might be my favorite game developer.
Okay.
So, because they made The Outer Worlds and Fallout New Vegas and stuff, so...
Right.
So, apparently the second one has aged better, even though people like the first one more.
Sure.
Because it was better at the time.
So, off of that, outside of video games, it was I believe the 55th anniversary of Star Trek as a franchise.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of Star Trek news, or at least trailers and reveals, right?
If you went on Twitch, that's the only commercial that they had, was saying that was Star Trek Day tomorrow.
So...
And Star Trek Day today?
Yeah, so, I have 3 trailers here. So there was a character feature about Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is the show. I guess it's, I don't know what I would call. In terms of modern day, it's a spin-off of Discovery, but it's weird, the implications, right? That you could almost also say that it's a prequel. It's just a straight up prequel to the original series, right?
Yeah.
Because this show was what the initial pilot kind of set up, which is kind of funny, right?
Yeah, it's what was promised to the fans, but was never happened.
Well, I don't know about... There weren't any fans yet. Initially.
Oh, there's so many fans. There's so many fans. I don't think
there were fans yet when this original pilot came out. But we got to see a bunch of characters for it, right? So
they actually gave number 1 a name.
Right, which was interesting, yeah. Do you have a list of the characters for that?
No, but they got a new actress who plays Uhura, which I think... Yeah, they had
Uhura. So yeah, they
I already like her
because we knew the 3 from Discovery, which was Pike, number 1, and Spock, right?
Yeah,
obviously. And then there were a couple twists in there. Some characters that would remain on the Enterprise, more characters that would remain on the Enterprise leading up to original series, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had you said Uhura, which was a bit of a surprise to me. I think that could be interesting. They had Nurse Chapel, which, do you remember Nurse Chapel?
Not really.
So the funny thing about that, right, is that the actress who played Nurse Chapel was also the original actress that played number 1 in the pilot. And then would later go on to be Deanna Troy's mother in Next Gen.
Okay.
It's Majel Barrett, right?
Mm-hmm.
So... It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird to think that these two characters originally played by the same actress are now together. I don't know. There were some comments on the YouTube about they should have like a mind swap episode of those characters or something weird, and nobody notices, or I don't know. I forgot what it was. They had a Dr. Mbenga who I'm not familiar with. I guess I don't know. Not sure if he's from the original pilot or what. Do you remember any other characters that were
coming one over? Pilot girl with weird hair. That I'm like, I don't know if that was very 70s.
I mean, that's a fresh character anyways.
Yes.
I think that was... Yeah, they had a couple fresh characters. I think that show has the potential to be the best of the 3 shows, right?
Yes. That's the show that I'm like, when I was watching this, like, cast reveal and stuff, was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it could be really good.
Yes, I am very hopeful. As long as it's like, I hope they don't really do a strong linear story to start out.
Okay.
I want it to be a traditional Star Trek show.
I don't know.
Like, maybe have every episode, for the most part, be filler. Except for maybe the finale, which ties some of the stuff together.
But why would you call it filler, though? I don't know why you call it filler, then, if you're trying to make it sound good, you know?
Just one-off, like you know what I mean. A traditional Star Trek show.
I know what you mean, but I'm saying that doesn't really hold people's interests anymore, especially. And that people would see it exactly what you just called it, filler. And that nobody really is going to want to watch that. They need something. You can have a A plot and a B plot. You just need to handle it better than, like, say, a Discovery did or does.
Yeah, because I feel like the other shows are just so linear, and that's not what I want from Star Trek. I think it kind of sucks what they're trying to do.
How long until we get Kirk in the show? Because they're literally already doing Uhura and people. And Pike is supposed to have some relationship with Kirk, I think, right?
What do you mean?
Well, Pike is supposed to... I'm pretty sure even in the original series, Pike is supposed to be this sort of mentor figure to James Kirk, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of how long in this show until we get Kirk, some sort of appearance, a recast of Kirk, before he becomes captain of the Enterprise or something.
Yeah, you want him to take the away from Pike, basically.
No. Just have an appearance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they... I mean, they did the same thing with Spock in Discovery, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I want it, like, heavily. I'm just thinking that's inevitable. At some point, it'll happen. I feel like it's a season 2 thing.
Yeah. By the way, Pike was the one saving grace for Discovery season 2.
Maybe.
The only thing I liked about season 2, and the minute he left, and I saw that season 3 would not have any Pike-like character. That's when I knew Discovery was dead.
They also showed off some new uniforms, didn't they? I think they have some different uniforms.
Yeah, but it pays more homage to the original, which I like.
I thought they remind me a lot of the movie, the sort of J.J. Abrams movie uniforms.
Yes, that as well.
A little bit. The next trailer, there was a trailer for Star Trek Prodigy, which is the animated... I think is it Nickelodeon? It might be a Nickelodeon
Yes,
show.
It's Nickelodeon. But it's on the app.
What is your opinions on that, first off?
I don't know how Star Trek it feels.
True, outside of there being a Star Trek vessel, yeah.
Yeah, like, I feel like this is a cool show. It looks interesting. I'm definitely going to give it a try. But I don't know if it's going to be Star Trek.
So, based on the first trailer, I was like, alright, I don't know about this yet. Based on this trailer, I feel like it's a bunch of 10-year-olds on a starship.
I don't think that.
I swear there was some alien in one of these that, when they're trying to fly the ship in the trailer, sound like he was 10 years old. Like, I don't know how seriously I can take these guys. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's really gonna be just like, you're gonna just want stuff from Janeway. And I don't know how interesting it's gonna be to just watch a crew of, I don't know what you would call them, amateurs on a starship when you've had a dozen shows. I mean, then again, it's probably not designed for us or for the more mature audience. You know, it's designed to, like, get the younger kids into Star Trek before, you know. But it's like, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how many of them are going to be watching it, but yeah, it's going to be hard to me to watch a show of kid amateurs that don't know how to operate a starship try to fly this thing around. And then there's who hologram Janeway there. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who's in her Voyager uniform for some reason?
I'm guessing, like, they got back, it's like, hey, can we make a hologram out of you? And they're like, sure, why not?
But why in the Voyager uniform? By that time they had First Contact uniforms. That's why I don't get. It's a continuity error. If I'm being nitpicky. If I'm going to be really nitpicky with it, I don't know that yet. But then again, maybe they'll explain it in the show. That is going to be tough to watch. But you're excited for that one?
I am ready to be surprised.
Okay.
I did not expect Lower Decks to be good, which I have not been watching, by the way. Because I do not have password for our account. Last episode was
pretty good. This last one.
Oh, was it? Is the show still ruined for you?
Huh? No, just something about this last episode was like, okay, there's some funny jokes in it. And some, I liked some of the characters a bit more, but... And then it's like, okay. I just want Titan, the show. I just want to see Riker on Titan or whatnot. Yeah, then there was also a Picard Season 2 trailer, which, to me, lessened my excitement for it. In the fact
because it looked awful.
In the fact that, okay, they're doing, alright, the timeline's been changed, and now a lot of the plot's going to be in just, modern times, as they're trying to fix history.
It's not modern times, is it?
I mean, 7 of 9 was in like a police cruiser that like I would see going down the road. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, rewatch it, dude. I'm pretty sure that's gonna be where most of the show is gonna take place. I'm worried about.
I know. I said I want some surprises, right? Like I want these shows to be good and to make me more optimistic. But this one, I don't think will.
Oh, this one's like, history's been rewritten, and now what? We're the Terran Empire.
Yeah, like this seems like the mere universal light.
I don't know. I don't understand. I'm not sure what that means.
Only the Terran universe makes it seem like we're kind of like what if we're like
we were just savages?
Rush. Yeah, like we're savages. But then this one makes it seem like what if we're just Nazis?
Which I don't know.
Like what if we just basically see Starfleet swastikas and stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm still, I don't know, because to me, what was it? They show the Borg Queen. That was a part of their Borg tease, right? Because they need to do a Borg tease in it.
Yeah, otherwise no one's gonna watch it. You know,
I guess,
gotta have the Borg with Picard.
You have to have
That's
some
Picard's
sort of Borg
one thing. Is the Borg.
Except when it's Janeway's or something.
Which Janeway ruined the Borg for me. Just saying.
So yeah, I don't know how out of all that, I'm most excited for Strange New Worlds.
Yes, I agree. Easily.
I don't think there was a trailer for Discovery, but I probably wouldn't have watched that anyways because we haven't finished the last season of that show, and we hate that show for a fairly amount.
For very good reasons. Watch the show. You tell us.
But yeah, Strange New Worlds looks good. Was there other Star Trek stuff that you found? I don't think I did.
No. I got one more piece of news, but we can talk about the next thing.
No, do your piece of news.
Okay. Steve from Blue's Clues made a special appearance.
I'm cutting this out.
You're cutting it out? No, you can't.
I don't know why we need this.
You can't cut it out. Dude, he's back on the show, dude. He's back on the show. Have you not seen the memes about him coming back?
This isn't important news.
Yes, it is.
No, I'm going to bleep out everything about this. So there was a trailer for The Matrix Resurrections this week. And it showed off, kind of sets up a bit of the story. I guess Neo is in the Matrix with Trinity. Or somehow alive.
Yeah.
It looks kind of cool. I don't know. And it introduces, I don't know about new characters. So they have what a Morpheus look-alike. And there was a lot of Matrix, like actual stuff in the Matrix. You don't see much stuff outside of the Matrix, do you?
No.
Right. Keanu Reeves just has his normal look, though, now. He's just in his John Wick.
Apparently that was like part of his contract.
I think that's a joke going on. I don't think it's actually a part of his deal. I think that's the joke. It's like, I'll do the movie, but I want to keep my look going on. I'm pretty sure that's a joke. I don't think that's an actual part of his deal.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure there was a shot in there with him... What was it? Him with, like, his eyes are all scarred up, and he's, like, with the machines or something, wasn't there? I swear that was a shot in the trailer.
I don't know. People are saying, how is he going to come back to life? The end of the last movie basically said, yeah, he's probably not dead.
Yeah, I don't think he ever died. It was more that Trinity 100% was killed.
Yeah,
that's more what it was.
I expect that to be kind of like an AI trap.
Which, yeah, you could say anything, right? That could be... It's a fake Trinity that the machines have put in there that... Because when did you first watch those movies? Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. And Trinity was my favorite character.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Trinity was
my favorite. Because she gets stinking killed in there in the third one. So I'm curious as to, what's going on. Yeah, I agree with you that I think it's a trap by the machines to keep his mind docile.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I think fake Morpheus or new Morpheus, whatever, whoever this new guy is, it's gonna be like.
Why is he different acting? Did the last one die?
No, he's around. People just Lawrence Fishburne. He said that they just didn't ask him to come back, which I'm not sure how true that is. I've got a theory that he is going to be in it, but his avatar in the Matrix is just younger. Because I don't think we see that guy outside of the Matrix yet in that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I don't think we see anybody outside of Neo and Trinity, any sort of image of them outside the Matrix. So I'm not sure. I think that could be a twist, though, and I think he could be lying.
I got a complaint
about the trailer.
Yes, I feel like the universe is not green enough. When they're in the Matrix, you got to be solid.
No,
yes,
I hate that.
You got to bring back the early 2000s and late 90s, make it green.
No, I hate that.
I think it was such a look, and it had such a feel to the Matrix, where when you're in there, it felt like it was dead, like something was off.
I did not like that, to be honest. I prefer it where it feels real. But it's just going to be that's what I prefer. I don't like that because it makes me sick. I don't know.
I know you feel that way. And how...
It just totally makes me sick.
It's the classic thing where every movie and video game of that era was just a solid color. Like, that's why, like, Fallout and stuff looks like just a solid color. You gotta bring that back with the Matrix.
No.
Matrix needs to bring it back.
Nope. They're not doing it. Nope.
Yep. So when they're in the Matrix, it has to be green, and when they're outside the Matrix, it has to be blue.
Nope.
Yep. It's an easy edit.
So just one of the biggest
Josh Whedon in there, make it red.
One of the biggest complaints about this is that it seems to be just retreading ground. Like, it's going to be a lot of... It's going to be kind of a retelling of the same old story.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a legitimate worry, right? Because that's the big thing about people say about Force Awakens, right? Is that it's kind of a retelling of the story to a degree.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, might make sense because I think it's been... almost... I don't know how many years. It's been like 20 years, right? Since the original came out. So I'm not sure how many people of, say, our generation have actually watched The Matrix. They get all the references and stuff, probably. It's like, oh, that's Matrix, I guess? But I don't know how many have actually seen the movie. So I wonder how necessary that is. I don't think it will be a total just retelling. I'm betting... I feel like there's a lot of stuff, like I've said before, we only really see shots from inside the Matrix. We don't see a whole lot outside, so I feel like there will be some twists involving that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I also don't like the Matrix 2 and 3. I just think that's just important to put out there.
Sure, yeah.
You can like them. I don't.
I can't remember a lot of them, which might speak to that.
Oh, really?
I don't remember them all that well. I remember very select parts. Those movies almost, like, meld together in my brain, I think, as well. I can never remember if he meets the architect in the first or was it in the second or the third one, if he meets the architect.
Oh, I think that's the second one.
I don't remember. That's my problem. I think there was also a shot of the Oracle in the trailer that I don't think anybody's talked about. There was some woman with, like, glasses after, like, a shot of the, like, Alice in Wonderland book, who I'm betting that's the Oracle.
Yeah.
You see a couple agents, which you see them, like, get molded out of, like, some random police officers, which I love that shot. I think the agents are really cool in this franchise.
Yeah.
I think all the action looks really cool. That's why I'm...
His name is not Mr. Anderson. He has some other fake name?
No, it was Thomas. It's Thomas Anderson. I think it is the same
Oh,
name.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Because was it Neil?
Mr. Anderson.
His therapist calls him Thomas, which I'm pretty sure his name was Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure, so I think it will be. Do you think we'll get Agent Smith back, though?
Is the actor still around?
Hugo Weaving, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course he is.
I don't know.
I feel like if they do, they're just going to do it for that sweet, sweet nostalgia monies.
Because, yeah, what happened to Smith? I think he just got absorbed by the machines, right?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, they probably will. I would advise against it.
Yeah.
I, as on the board of Warner Brothers, would make the last movie, like the third one, just kind of like null if they just have him still be around.
Sure. Even though that's my favorite character probably in that franchise is Smith.
Yeah, same. Well, I like Trinity still the most, but you know.
I think it would. Yeah, it would kind of eliminate parts of that. But this kind of leads into our main topic, right? In terms of machines, artificial life forms, sentient machines.
Yeah.
We were gonna get kind of into how do they exist in science fiction, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna get into that. So, I think did you put together a list of them that
I did not, but I have a mental list.
A mental list.
I have a mental list. I have a mental list. I came in with some that I wanted to talk about.
So they're just in like every franchise, right? Sort of artificial life forms. So
yes. Yeah,
how do you define one that's sentient exactly, though? Because I think also the thing is that in science fiction, if they want one to be sentient, it's sentient, There's no way around that.
Yeah. AI.
So, like, how...
What does the A stand for? I made that reference while watching Captain Marvel the other day. And none of my friends got it.
Really?
One of them eventually did, like, 10 minutes later. It's like, oh, I got that reference. I'm like, thank you. Whatever. It's fine.
So, in a lot of I've got a theory, though, about artificial life forms, okay?
Okay, go on.
That I'll discuss it later, because I wanted to go through a bunch of different types, right? So, do you want to start with any types specifically?
We got the AIs, which
I'm talking about from
computer
like certain franchises.
Interface.
No, I'm talking about like franchises. Okay. So
you want?
So like we'll get into androids from Star Trek, right? You have Data.
Yeah.
Who, kind of the only thing that they try to disconnect between him and an actual life form is that he doesn't have emotions most of the time.
Yeah.
And they have trials about like, does he qualify as sentient or whatnot, and is it really possible to qualify sentience? That's one of my favorite episodes of that show is Measure of a Man, where it's kind of a hearing about that.
Yeah.
What's another? Just hop in whenever you get ideas of these.
I mean, there's the holograms in Star Trek. We got the Doctor who always wants to leave.
Right, that's another. Yeah.
He's always ready to.
Yeah.
Bags constantly packed, and whenever somebody's like, "I really like you, Doctor," he's like, "Okay, I'm leaving the ship, Janeway. Goodbye."
See ya, because I'm.
But then something always happens.
It's like what? Why?
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, then something always happens that makes him like, "I'm not leaving. They don't want me anymore."
It's very weird. That character.
I like the Doctor all the way up until like season 5 when they started just doing that. Like every character episode about him, it's like, "I'm leaving. Goodbye."
Well, it's weird because he's supposed to be just like a database, right? And then they turn him into practically a person somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets kind of wild, which reminds me of, I guess, another form, Andromeda from Andromeda. Which
I was saving that one for last.
Oh.
Go on.
She has emotions, though, doesn't she? She has very apparent emotions and stuff.
Yes, and especially when she becomes basically her own android. Then she becomes like a natural person.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's very strange. What about we'll get into, how about replicators in Stargate?
Replicators are terrifying.
They're pretty scary. Because they start off as just robots, just little robots that want to replicate into blocks, and keep building themselves. But then, I don't remember what season it was. I want to say season 7 or something, where suddenly they get human forms and become super terrifying, hyper-intelligent nanite beings that have...
I'm looking up when they're there.
Okay.
5th season. Because it's the one where Daniel Jackson was not there.
Okay. Oh, that's
right.
They
had good old Jonas.
That's right. So that's because that was an interesting form. Oops.
That might be my favorite episode of the whole show, where they feel like, oh no, they're humans now. And they're just walking on the planet, and it's just entirely replicators.
Because do you consider them to be sentient?
No.
No.
I don't think androids are like any robot can be sentient. That's me though. Maybe I'm gonna get canceled in
do you think in
200 years?
But I'm saying, like, in the terms of that story, do you think they are considered sentient?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
By the time they become humans, then I feel like they are.
Okay.
In that universe, yes.
Or do you think it's just a survival instinct of some kind?
I feel like it used to be that way, but not anymore. Not when they became humans and then they stopped being that way.
Okay.
Because then we see the main character have like fear, love, anger.
Mm-hmm.
They have a wide range of emotions.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other what property do you want to go next with?
Star Wars. Star Wars is the best one.
Star Wars. So droids for that whole thing, right? Which are...
Yes.
They're practically... I don't know. This could lead into a whole debate that I've had for a while about, do droids in Star Wars have free will or not?
Some do.
I hate that answer, though. It's not definitive. Some do. Because you'll have droids like C-3PO who say, oh, I can't do this thing because it's against my programming.
Yeah.
Which I've heard the argument that, oh, that's just a that's just a swap out for it's against my morals or ethics.
No.
Which I think is a cop-out. I think that's a cop-out to say that.
He literally can't say it.
He's saying, it's like he literally cannot. It's not even really a choice. They have to, in, Rise of Skywalker, they literally have to hack into his brain to get him to speak, like, Sith language, right?
Yeah.
It's not like it was a choice that he made. I don't know. I don't think droids in Star Wars have free will. I've heard arguments that R2-D2 is force sensitive as well. I do not ride on that bus. I think that's a dumb bus to die on.
I've never heard that one.
I've heard that one from one or two people that you may know. But I think that's dumb. Droids can be droids. Because you also have, like, battle droids. Battle droids are no way sentient or free will.
No.
In most cases.
Yeah.
I think the longer a droid might exist for, the more personality they can gain. Or they can just be programmed with personalities, right?
Yeah, IG-88 is probably the droid that has probably the most free will. Because it's totally by himself.
Well, yeah, then you get that goes against my argument, where you have a droid who works for himself as a bounty hunter. That's where it gets weird, right? Because suddenly, who's that droid answer to, and what's his programming? Like, what was the intention of his programming, right?
Yeah.
So that's so weird, right? IG-88 or IG-11 in the same case, but then you have IG-11 who dies, and then is, just rebuilt as a good guy, right? As a nurse droid.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know.
Which is still the free will argument, I think.
What?
I still think that's free will. Because, obviously, that's just all he really knew, was to be a nursing droid. I mean, he has memories of... Like, he has stuff ingrained into him. But I think he ultimately did choose to be a nursing droid at that time.
But why, though? It's not... You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't really understand it. I think it's very abstract how droids work in this universe, and that's a part of the cool mystery about Star Wars.
It is.
Is that these droids are very, because you can mass produce these droids, but you'll find a couple that are just one of a kind out there that are operating on their own or something.
Yeah.
I
love how personality works for the droids, where it's like C-3PO is the nervous one. R2-D2 is kind of like the optimistic, hopeful one. BB-8's like joyful. Chopper's just grumpy all the time.
It's thinking, screw Chopper.
Chopper's great.
Hate Chopper.
I think he's like a living MacGuffin. Like everything just happens in his favor all the time.
I don't know.
Which is really weird.
I really don't care for that droid.
I like Chopper for what he is.
And then you have restraining bolts, which it's like, why would you need a restraining bolt if a droid is just going to go on their programming as well? I don't know.
Restraining bolts, I always felt like, though, more so it's just about like them not being able to leave.
But why would they leave, though, if they're programmed by you? I don't know. I think that's an argument. I think that's a discussion that could go on forever in terms of if droids in Star Wars have free will or not.
Yes, I agree.
It's a very...
potential episode, perhaps. Want to get all of the lore together. We will get Pablo Hidalgo on the podcast.
No.
I know. Pablo Hidalgo's banned from the podcast.
Don't even know if he exists.
You think he was fired?
I don't know. Without, Rebels Recon? There's no way of knowing.
Yeah. I mean, there's talks about Pablo Hidalgo actually getting fired for something else that he did, but I didn't want to talk about it on the podcast.
Because he let them kill Depa Billaba in some way outside the canon.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about Bad Batch. About them screwing up Kanan's origin in Bad Batch.
Oh. No, it's because apparently he laughed. Because there was apparently a rumor that he laughed at like some other Star Wars YouTuber who posted his reaction about Luke Skywalker showing up, and apparently he said that he was a baby for crying.
All right.
Which is like, I don't know why he would say that. So I don't think it's true. It's never been confirmed or anything. I don't know if he got fired for whatever rumor that was.
So what about we could go into the world of Blade Runner?
Oh, that's a great one. I didn't even think of that one.
Yeah, the world of Blade Runner, where you have replicants, right? Which I don't think they're really robots, are they? I'm not really sure how they construct replicants in that world. I feel like they're almost just like synthetic people, almost.
I agree. Yeah, I think that's absolutely it. Which I don't know how, like, basically Harrison Ford is a replicator, because that's what the second one basically says.
Replicator.
I mean, not a replicator, a replicant. But I don't know how long why does he live so long?
I don't think he is, though. Because, yeah, he ages and stuff. I don't think that works like that.
I think he is supposed to be, though.
I know. I think that's a part of the implications in the first one is that he might be.
I think they basically just say in the second one that he is.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at all.
But it doesn't work because he buried his girlfriend because she died, because of the time. Because he only lived for like 8 years or something like that.
Well, Blade Runner 2049 spoilers.
Because
what was it? Rebecca? I don't remember her name.
Mm-hmm.
She died. Didn't she die from childbirth?
Maybe.
Which I think that's a big part of the plot, right? Is that they're trying to figure out suddenly can replicants procreate, right? Can they breed and, do they?
Yes.
Because I think that's what, I forget his name, Jared Leto's character is like really trying to figure out, right? And he was working hard on that.
Yeah, that was the movie, basically.
Yeah, and Dave Bautista's like, I've seen miracles, dude. I've seen miracles, Ryan Gosling. I've seen some crazy miracles. It's like, oh. So,
like, I'm the child.
Right.
And then he wasn't.
Everybody thinks they're the child. They're Harrison Ford's kid. But they're not.
I think that's a true story, though. Because we all want to be Harrison Ford's child, don't we?
Oh, my God.
When in reality, it's...
Nobody. Not many people.
We're not. We got Kylo Ren. He doesn't want to be his kid.
He doesn't even want to be.
And we all like, Kylo Ren, we want to be you. We want to be you, Ben Solo.
So,
and then the kid that he does have is Mutt.
But it almost seems like, yeah, in their replicants kind of have free will, don't they? Like, they for sure are, like, becoming people, right?
Yeah, they rise up to their masters.
They're, like, starting to, yeah. Because, you don't get much into what they do outside of being hunted down by Blade Runners, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Outside of, in the first one, you hear, because what were those? Those were, like, Nexus replicants. That I think they were all soldiers. As they talk about battles that they were in. And this guy. Yeah. I think, it's very interesting, that world, and the artificial life forms in there. Because, they lay out certain barriers right off the bat, like, they only live, however many years. Right, they're very limited. And then you see that they totally have emotions and stuff. And then the next one, they can procreate, right? It's very interesting. That world is very complex and interesting to me as to how they treat their artificial life forms.
Yeah. Obviously, that's such a complicated world. Yeah, that's it. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we covered it all with the replicants.
Yeah, I mean, I would say out of a lot of those, replicants are for sure sentient and are like an actual life form by the time of that. I think.
I feel like we gotta have
especially they meet the qualifications.
Yeah, someday we gotta do a Blade Runner topic someday.
Maybe, yeah. Off of that, this is a topic that I want you to get into, is about popular video game, Detroit Become Human.
I was going to talk about it probably right next, but...
Yeah, so get into that, because I don't know, I've watched you play parts of it, but that's a world where there are plastic people walking around, and they start to kind of wake up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of get into that.
So usually when there's an emotional strain, like something that they themselves go through, they kind of have to break through this virtual wall sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And kind of break free from that and become sentient. Okay. And apparently it's all supposed to tie into this one savior android called RA9.
Okay.
But the game never says exactly who that is.
Okay.
But it's very mysterious because apparently this is the guy that gave the android sentient life. and that there's this one character named Connor who you could say is the main character, who, whenever he dies,
Connor is the detective. Android,
yes,
right?
yes. Which whenever he dies, he loses his sentience.
Okay.
So basically, you need to recreate his sentience by kind of diverging from the path that he's programmed to do.
Okay.
And that's kind of like the big choice, which is, do you want him to not become sentient or sentient and to join the rebellion?
Sure.
And that's kind of like the big thing that they lead up to. Not really. It's kind of impossible to spoil this game because there's so many different endings, but.
So in that world, what are androids used for? Because this is one of my nitpicky sort of criticisms of the game.
Yeah, literally everything.
They're used for
literally
everything. Yeah, which to me is really inefficient and doesn't make sense. Why you would use androids that walk and talk and just work like a human would, as opposed to more efficient technologies, just like, I don't know, arms, like robotic arms, or drones that will just, pick up a thing and hover it around. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or even if you have robots that just aren't in the form of humans, like they look more like, say a droid from Star Wars that can have 360 degrees of movement, because like, say, an IG-11, right? You remember how when he would fight, he's just like he's pivoting like incredible in ways that a human can't, right? In terms of arms and on their torso, right? So I don't know why you would build an android that is limited by the same things as a human. To me, that just doesn't make sense.
You're absolutely right. I used to no
no
but
way.
They would exist. But
they would exist, right?
Way.
Not in the same extent. They wouldn't be used for the same things. They'd be like, I think I said this to you at one point, they would be used in amusement parks most of the time.
Sometimes, yeah.
But
they won't be a cashier.
They would be. Right. I mean, right, for sure. It would be a replacement for, like, audio animatronics.
Yes. Also, I think in the universe they're like $300 or like $200. They're super cheap.
What the heck?
Which maybe contradicts your idea. Because if they're that cheap...
Why would they... That's a part of something that I guess would not make sense. How would they be that cheap?
Oh, I have no idea. That's throwing...
It's like you're just putting that in there just for the sake of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But aren't there also people losing their jobs in that world because of the robots?
Yeah, like the unemployment rate is crazy.
But, it's weird to me. Yeah. So maybe $300 is expensive in that world because people aren't getting jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. That world to me doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And that's part of what maybe is confusing about me with Blade Runner as well. We don't really know how replicants are made. I guess in there, like we said, they're more like just synthetic people, right? Like they're just... When these are plastic people, right? And Detroit become human.
Yes.
So... And how's that... Does that game have any sort of real definitive ending? Or is it most of the time... Is it pretty open-ended?
Really. It's very open-ended.
Okay. Because it's
you can sink a nuke.
Choice-based, right?
Yeah, you can basically nuke the entire city if you want to.
What? As who? Yeah. As what character chooses that? Because you play as Marcus, like 2 or 3 characters, right?
You play as 3. There's this one character named Marcus, and it's like, hey, we got basically an atomic bomb planted in Detroit.
Because he's the
Do you want
rebel,
the remote?
Which is like,
yes, he's the leader of the rebellion. And he's like, and then you can like, or not accept the remote. And then you're crazy if you say no. So you accept the remote, and just throughout the game, you're like,
I will put the trigger for this bomb in the hands of a citizen.
Yeah, right. That would be. Yeah.
Oh, you would never give it to an ordinary citizen. That's my Batman. No, he gave it to Talia al Ghul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, it's the fun. The game is a good fun. but I've played it so many times I can't play it again for a while.
So, I guess in the sake of that world, like, these androids are for sure sentient. Like, they're trying to definitively say that they are sentient and life forms,
Yeah, for sure.
Because, I don't know, what is their goal for when they...
Oh, this is important to mention. Where one of the endings basically makes it be where, like, the androids will never become sentient again.
Interesting.
Which I think is important to mention. So basically, like, there's an ending where...
They find the flaw in their programming.
Yeah.
And they just cut it out? Okay.
Yeah. Which you can basically, like, have the androids make their entire new nation. And have a civil war. And make their own new nation. There's, like, if you want to go campaign for equality, be kind of a Martin Luther King Jr. sort of thing.
A civil rights leader.
Yeah. Or just explode everything and then become an example of why humanity should not make androids.
Well, here, for an example of why humanity shouldn't create robots.
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, yeah. I was going to bring up Battlestar Galactica.
We'll get into Battlestar Galactica right now. We'll lead into that. So, it doesn't work for the original. I know that's your favorite. That's the one you prefer. Okay.
I want to talk about the original just a little bit.
All right. What do you have to say about the original one?
The eggheads were fantastic. They're the best artificial life form in the world. And I also like the little subtle charm of the normal guys, because they just are basically just knockoff stormtroopers.
Of the Centurions, yeah. I mean,
yes, that's what I think they're just adorable. Like, I think they're adorable. And also, I don't want to spoil this, because we're going to have this in the podcast, where we're going to talk about the Return of Starbuck episode.
We're not going to.
But basically, Starbuck kind of befriends a Cylon in the episode.
Or does he reprogram one?
I'm going to say
because those are different things.
Yes,
one means that they're making a free will choice, and the other one is forcibly altering somebody's brain.
No, because the Cylon was very much of, I don't like you. And then Starbuck was like, hey, let's be friends here. We can be friends. And it's awesome, because eventually then the Cylon kind of helps them fight other Cylons.
So, but yeah, I mean, the Cylons in the original Battlestar Galactica were made by aliens, right? To somewhat resemble them, or humanoids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they came to not like humans, and there were wars and stuff, and want to exterminate humans. In the 2000s Battlestar Galactica, humans invented Cylons, at least initially. I guess spoilers for that show, but there were also Cylons made by their ancestors, and there's supposedly this loop of humans inventing artificial life forms through Cylons, and then the Cylons try to kill them, right? That's kind of the loop of Battlestar Galactica that they talk about.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it usually seems like the Cylons start off as big toaster robots, right?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the consensus, right? And then they evolve into... But, I mean, those still get some sort of... They still rebel, don't they? Right? I think there's some miniseries that get more into that. I don't know too much about when they actually rebel.
Yeah.
Some interesting part of that was how the Cylons become religious, right?
Yeah, but that's...
They start worship... Because in this world, most humans worship, like, the Greek pantheon, I think.
Yeah.
Some version of that. Some version of the Greek pantheon with Athena and stuff. And then, from what I understand from the lore, is that there were humans that were monotheists that worshipped one god, and they kind of roped the emerging Cylon culture in with that. And then they became the Cylon god.
Which is weird, because they try to make it Christianity, but it's nothing like Christianity.
Well, because...
At all.
Well, I mean, first of all, I don't think it can really be Christianity, because there's no Christ yet.
Yeah.
If anything, in terms of how that show ends, right, it would be more of a version of Judaism.
Yeah.
Which is
technically, you're right.
Which I think is more of the first historical monotheism religion, right?
Yeah.
Which could have interesting implications, but again, this is also how many thousands of years before modern day? So of course that sort of thing is gonna evolve. But I think we're getting off the point where I think
you're just reminding me why I hate Reboot Battlestar Galactica.
But I think it's interesting to show how those Cylons developed. They had some sort of, they were trying to develop some sort of moral structure, right? Through a religion, right?
Yeah, but it was like so loose. There was nothing there.
Well, I mean, they just don't elaborate much on it, do they?
No, because it's like, you know what? God wants you to have naughty things happen with each other all the time and with whoever you want.
But I'm talking about, because what is it? Because then there's later the Cylons, the human Cylons come and make the new human Cylons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, and those are like for sure sentient. Like those were Cylons, those were artificial beings that ended up being able to reproduce, right? On some other planet. Which, and I mean, by the end, Cylons are basically, they're humans, right?
Yeah.
Practically. Like, Cylons plus the humans from the 12 colonies come
plus
together.
The humans that were there on that planet.
Plus prehistoric humans on Earth become humans of today, right?
Yes, which is why whenever somebody talks about Jimi Hendrix, I say they're a Cylon. But in reality, technically, we're all Cylon.
Maybe.
But whenever somebody says something about Jimi Hendrix, I'm like, yeah, Jimi Hendrix is a Cylon.
Wow.
He's more Cylon than any of us. I think he has the most percentage Cylon.
Sure, yeah, right. I believe.
You know how there's Ancestry.com where you'll like take your DNA and see like your heritage. There should be an online thing with like that. Only you can see how percentage of Cylon you are.
How Cylon? How much Cylon is in your blood?
Yeah.
But so in that world, right? We know for certain that the human Cylons are sentient in their life forms, right? But what about the Centurions? How about? Do you consider them to be?
Yes, because they basically just fly off and do their own thing. Remember?
Yeah, I guess they've got some sort of free will.
And then there was like, well, we will cut off, like we'll basically mutilate them so that they don't think for themselves. They said that, and then all the android Cylons were like, we don't want that. So they're sentient.
That's right.
They're definitely sentient.
Yeah, you're right.
Which they're sentient in both. Fun fact.
Are the Centurions sentient, or is it just the Supreme Leader guy though in the original Battlestar Galactica?
No, I was just telling you about that's right. Season 2 Starbucks episode where they basically reveal that they're sentient. But then again, who knows if that's canon? Because most people don't count it. Some people argue that they should just make the season 2 canon just so they can have Return of Starbuck in there.
What the heck?
Just because it's that good of an episode.
Oh boy.
It's the biggest debacle of all time. I hate season 2, but that's such a great episode. We're talking about it on the podcast someday. Whatever. We're not today.
I thought it was a different. Yeah, we're not talking about that.
No. We're dropping it. We're dropping it because we're gonna pick this up some other day.
What other things did we have?
We were gonna talk about Andromeda.
Andromeda. We talked a bit about Andromeda though.
Yeah, I love all I like how in Andromeda there's like the ship AI, there's a hologram, and then there's the android, and they're like all individual beings. I think that's so cool. And I like how, like the one that's in the ship is probably like the least human, and the android is like the most human, and the hologram's kind of a weird merge between the two.
Can
you just imagine like walking around your ship and then just having the hologram talk to the one in the wall, and it's like, They're entirely different people.
You're not just the same. You don't share thoughts, yeah.
Yeah, you just walk in the conversation like, I think I'm gonna leave you two be for a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Here we go. Terminator. How about? I would say, because they're supposed to say, they say that Skynet, right, is self-aware. It becomes self-aware on what is it? Judgment Day. I was about to say Independence Day. Does not become not Independence Day, Judgment Day. Which does self-aware include sentient? What does that mean?
Well, no, because they had to reprogram Arnold Schwarzenegger in the second one to be good.
That's a Terminator, though, right? And not. I'm talking about Skynet, right? Which we've only seen the first and second Terminators, right? So it's a little tough to discuss this thing, right? But
that's true. But
I would agree that Terminators themselves are not sentient or self-aware. They're just robots put on missions. Yeah. I don't know much about Skynet itself, which is the thing that causes the apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know much about. What about? I mean, for our last, do you have any other ones before this one last on my list?
What is the last one on your list? Because maybe we have the same one.
Well, it's based on the trailer that we just went into.
Oh, The Matrix? Let's go talk about The Matrix.
Okay, so for Matrix, you don't see many robots. Most of the artificial life that you would say would be the programs in The Matrix, right? So I guess maybe the agents. I think the Oracle is a program. The Architect is a program. And they all seem to have some degree of self-awareness and sentience, right?
Yeah.
Where, yeah. They don't have any types of bodies, though, and I don't think they don't reproduce, so I'm not sure what their purposes are. It's hard to qualify them because they are just programs and they just sit in, like, they don't do much else in there, do they? Where they can really prove, like, their purposes. I don't know. You know what I mean?
I feel like the ones in The Matrix are kind of just so empty to me.
Sure, yeah. Sure. But I've got a theory about artificial life forms that become sentient, okay?
Okay, go on.
As if they were to, in real life, or my interpretation of them, I think artificial life forms, like robots or those beings, if they were to become sentient and are self-aware and stuff, they would be bigots.
Yeah.
I think they would. I think they would hate each other a lot of the time. You know, you would have new versions of say they're robots. Okay, they're all robots. Mm-hmm. You know, and they have robotic brains, computer brains. And if they are making more of themselves, maybe there's always going to be a version of them that's better, right?
Yeah.
Like by a quantitative level, it's like I can process this much more information than you, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna be a better robot than you are, as he says it to another robot, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like how because I was thinking about this. It's kind of like in Cars, because you saw Cars 3. Where you have
sucks.
Well, it's like, but they made an interesting point where you have Lightning McQueen, who's been raced. He's a veteran racer, and he's starting to, and he's with these other cars, and his friend racers are all they're starting to retire because of new racers that are coming in, because they're cars that are just mathematically more efficient, that are faster. And it's as a car, you can't really go beyond that. As just a car, you're made out of machinery, and that machinery is just either going to exceed its standards, or it's just even going to get worse because their machinery wears and tears, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's similar to robots, where there's always going to be other robots that are just better. And why would those robots ever try to keep older ones around all that much, right?
Yeah.
They would just keep recycling them for parts and junk. Something like that, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's your thought on that? Do you think this is accurate at all?
I mean, I don't. I think eventually they'll just break down. Because how long does technology really last?
Right. Well, yeah,
that depends.
Right, because that leads into the point where they would have to keep, in order to stay on a technological level with humans, say, they have to keep developing themselves, which is usually going to be to make more of them, more artificial life forms, which will be ones that are better, and those will kind of despise the ones that are not as good as them, right? It becomes this weird
we would have to, we would have to take out a memory chip on one of them and put it into a new one.
Oh, that'd be it. But eventually, I feel like that would become incompatible, or that because you're more saying a transfer of consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So you're transferring a consciousness from an older model to a newer model.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I think my theory would be that wouldn't work forever. Eventually, you have to make
obviously
more
not.
consciousness.
Yeah, eventually it's gonna be like, well, our old hard drives just don't work anymore. It doesn't work with new hardware. There's no way.
Right, exactly.
And then we got basically an extinction of a whole race of people.
Right, which would be kind of partly reminds me of the Asgard from Stargate, right?
I was thinking it was going to remind me of kind of like Tron, and how they kind of kill all the purely self-made.
The ISOs?
Yeah, the ISOs.
Yeah.
Love Tron, by the way.
So
we didn't talk about Tron.
Nah.
We don't need to. Dude, we don't got time to talk about Tron.
So then that leads into two things. So where either the artificial life forms have to develop some sort of system of morality where their morals would prevent them from just eliminating older models of artificial life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the older ones would have some feeling of self-preservation, and they would fight the newer models of artificial life.
Yeah.
And suddenly, artificial life, their worst threat isn't humans anymore. Suddenly it's themselves. It just becomes robots versus robots, right?
Yeah.
That's my interpretation of how artificial life would develop.
Yeah. I mean, Cyberpunk, I think, has some sort of artificial thing. But we're not talking about Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk sucks.
All cyborgs, though. They're not... It's all augmented people. It's not...
I think Keanu Reeves is supposed to be an AI.
What? No. Is he?
Would you count Harvey from Farscape?
No, I don't count
to be an AI.
No, I don't count him.
Well, Keanu Reeves is like some sort of thing inside of your main character's head, basically. And you guys are both trying to share a body, and he's taking over your mind.
Huh. Okay.
But by taking over your mind, he is also dying.
Weird. Okay.
So it's about saving yourself.
I don't want to get into a thing that neither of us have played.
Yeah. And we'll never play, because why would I want to play Cyberpunk?
So
maybe someday we will play
Cyberpunk. Do you have any sort of theories as to artificial life? How maybe it should be depicted in science fiction? Anything like that?
Oh, I think Star Wars does it best. I don't think they should ever really look fully human.
Super vague, though. As to whether they have free will and stuff.
Yeah. There's kind of more outlandish, androids have one personality trait about them.
Okay.
I think that's when they're done best, or when they're just some sort of monster bad guy like an Ultron or whatever. or replicators.
Sure. Okay.
I think you can do either or, and that works.
Skynet. Okay.
But I don't think you should make them interchangeable, like you kind of do in Star Trek, because I think that's lame.
Sure.
And eventually, you're gonna have that point where the Doctor is like, "Hey, well, he can only be in this one room. How are we gonna write so he's in everywhere and just basically a human?" And get a portable hollow transmitter thing.
Sure.
It's only like a matter of time until something like that happens, and then they're just robot or an android by name.
I like the. So my favorite depiction is probably in Blade Runner. I think.
Oh really?
I think it's really I think it's really complex. Yeah, just how they're depicted. Yeah. Do you have anything else on the topic? Otherwise, we'll kind of wrap up.
Who's your favorite? You just pick your favorite android or artificial life form.
Oh, I don't know. Kind of like. Oh, I do like K from Blade Runner. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Okay.
Say, from Blade Runner 2049, sure.
Okay. All right, let's go finish.
All right.
Let's go wrap up.
So, upcoming podcast news, first off. So, we'll be trying to do Shang-Chi next week, right? And we'll be trying to do a backlog of episodes while we are in the same room, so we can have better microphone quality for Joey.
I'm sure today sucks, because I have fan going on.
It's not the best, but it works. I think you're going to be legible. And if you're not, this episode isn't coming out, so... do you have any...
We'll title this the Lost episode.
Wow. Do you have any news to talk about? Or any upcoming podcast stuff? I don't think so. I don't think you will.
No, Shang-Chi. Get ready for some Shang-Chi action.
Yeah, we'll be talking about Shang-Chi. Alright, I will wrap us up. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast. Check us out on Twitter at @CapLightspeed. There's a link in the description on YouTube here. I'll be posting news. This has been your Captain Kenny with my executive officer,
Joey.
And this has been the Faster Than Lightspeed podcast.